In 2018, 4 National Youth Service Corps members were posted to a remote village in Akwa Ibom State, a place so deep in the forest that Google Maps simply called it unnamed road. Their names were Chichi, a cheerful girl from Anambra; Tolu, a skeptical Lagos boy with a sharp tongue; Esther, soft-spoken and prayerful; and Danlodi, a northerner who rarely spoke but kept a pocket-sized Quran close. The village was called Idom Inan, and no one had heard of it before. They arrived in an old, rusted vehicle that dropped them at the only clearing in town. No network, no electricity, and no signboards. Just dense trees, warm silence, and villagers who always watched them intently. At first, things seemed odd, but manageable. 3 of the corps members wanted to redeploy to another location, but Chichi, always the optimist, convinced them to stay and make the best of it. The village chief, an elderly man with pale eyes named Itbom Inyang, welcomed them with strange enthusiasm. He gave them 2 clay-walled houses at the edge of the forest and instructed them not to go out after sunset, or to enter the nearby Yukan bush, a dense forest area that everyone avoided. "It is sacred to the Ekpri 9, he said in his gravelly voice. "The one who crawls beneath." They thought it was superstition. Rural communities often had local legends. But then the dreams started. Esther was the first to wake up screaming, saying she saw a giant black snake slithering around their beds. Tolu laughed it off, until he found real snake scales near his bed the next morning. Then came the drums, wooden, rhythmic, unnatural, echoing from the bush around midnight. Chichi swore she saw villagers dancing in a circle, their bodies covered in white chalk, their tongues flicking unnaturally fast. One night, Danlodi vanished. No screams. No struggle. Just an empty mattress and his Quran, lying open on the page about false gods and hidden idols. When they rushed to the chief for help, he simply said, "It is the way of the Ekpri 9. One must go first." That's when they knew this wasn't superstition. It was a cult. A snake-worshipping sect, older than Christianity, hidden for generations. They believed the Ekpri 9 granted them fertility, rain, and protection. But only if they offered youth, outsiders, to feed the serpent god's hunger. The corps members were never sent there by mistake. It was deliberate. Desperate, the 3 remaining friends planned to escape at dawn, following the path the old vehicle came through. But by sunrise, the road was gone, swallowed by jungle. No tire marks. No footprints. Only bloody drag marks, heading toward Yukan forest. Seeing no other alternative, they decided to enter the forest and make their escape. Esther cried constantly, clutching her Bible. Tolu had fashioned himself a makeshift weapon carved from a broken chair leg. Several hours into their long trek, Chichi, her optimism long vanished, whispered to herself, "We are not going to make it." That night, as they walked through the forest, they could hear the villagers all around them, chanting and singing in a language that didn't sound human. Through the darkness, snake-like shadows slithered between the trees, watching, waiting. Then they attacked, huge snakes, taking poor Esther with them into the darkness. Her screams rocked the forest floor, until they were suddenly cut off. Tolu encouraged Chichi to run and tell everyone what had happened, sacrificed himself to fend off the onslaught, giving Chichi enough time to escape. 3 days later, Chichi was found wandering near the expressway, barefoot, eyes glazed over, whispering over and over again, "The one who crawls beneath it never sleeps." Admitted to a psychiatric hospital in Uyo, her file simply read, "Patient suffers recurring visions of snakes. Shows signs of trauma and ritual exposure. but villagers of Idem Inan claim the core members never arrived, that the government never posted anyone there. And as for the road, no such road has been found again.